Play Your Role is a proud affiliate of Only Crits Dice. Check the link in the description for beautiful hard-edged dice sets as well as a coupon code in order to be able to get 15% off your next order. If you want amazing high-quality tabletop products as well as to support the channel, please go ahead and check it out. Enjoy the video. So I've had quite a few people ask me how to play a veteran character, and that's one that's interesting. I do have some veterans in my family, but generally I don't have a lot of personal experience with it. And so I really am not sure exactly what people are looking for. I can sort of sympathize or kind of think about what they might think, basically theorize on what they're asking for. One, they could be asking for a character who is older and wizened and has a lot of battle experience. That is a way to go. Two, they could be talking about somebody who's dealing with some pretty significant trauma like PTSD. Or they could just generally be asking for an older character. So how do you play an old person? Let me give you a secret. In order to play an old person, you just play a character who has gone through a lot. And has a lot of age and their body may not be working with them. It's pretty much that simple.
I've lived a life like a man who has pursued peace.
But when you're playing a veteran specifically, it means you inherently have a lot of stuff in your backstory. And there are a lot of points I want to touch on that are kind of all over the place, but all connect back to playing a veteran archetype. So let's talk about that. So the first thing with playing a veteran archetype is something that a lot of new players struggle with, and that is the incredible hero at level 1. When you create a veteran, it inherently means that they've gone through a lot. And so a lot of people, especially when new to tabletop games, will create this long, elaborate backstory of this veteran who has gone through all these things. They fought all these wars, they fought all these monsters, and then the campaign starts at level 1 and they die to a rat.
Well, that was anticlimactic.
It's not that exciting, and it becomes really boring if you're going to play it like that. And it really is difficult because if you haven't gone through all those experiences, though, how are you a veteran? How do you display the fact that you're a veteran? And that's difficult. The first thing I would determine is, what are you a veteran in? Is there a war going on? Are you a soldier? Are you just a veteran in your field? Those things are very important, and you can play into it. One important thing to remember is that most soldiers cannot compare to a fighter. And I know that's a little bit odd, but it's very true. Most soldiers are just really low CR. They're basic people who are basic trained, but a fighter is somebody with heroic tendencies who also has that training. The ability to break through and play more. It's important to remember that most classes are actually a lot more powerful than the majority of the population in most tabletop games. Now that does depend on the setting, and I will admit that. But a lot of the times, if you are even one level in a class, you are generally better and higher tier than most people in a world. Because most people aren't trying to learn these abilities to fight and do extraordinary things, they're just trying to live their life. I mean, if I were to consider what sort of levels I'd be in anything, well, I wouldn't. I'm a YouTuber. I don't have any of those eccentric or incredible skills because I don't need them. What I want to do is talk about D&D online to you guys.
Well, when you put it like that, it sounds kind of bad.
It doesn't require me to have these incredible skills and the ability to fight. If you're to watch some sort of spy movie, assume that those spies represent a level 1 fighter. And so anything you go past that is incredible. So you can still be a veteran and then be a level 1 fighter, because you're really tapping into what makes you you. Or one thing you could do it is maybe you were a level 8, 9, 10 fighter. You were an incredible warrior who received a horrific injury. And now you are all the way back to level 1.
He said we are not so different, you and I. Then he said, I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow in the knee. And just as any of my fellow gods, I'll tell you that it's true, that I took an arrow in the knee.
And you could do some fun things with this. Maybe you received such a horrible injury that it literally removed your ability to use the fighting techniques you used to. And as you try and help out the party, you get so enraged that your body no longer does what you want it to, and you enter a rage and attack. You were a level 8 fighter. Now you are a level 1 barbarian on a new journey. See, there's a lot of different ways to go for it, but you have to keep in mind that when you play a veteran, you have to keep the backstory in mind. They're a veteran, yes, they've gone through things, but they're not necessarily all that high and mighty in their backstory, unless you specifically play it that way and work with your DM on it. But there are other things about being a veteran that I need to talk about. One is the traumatic side of it. Are you asking to play a veteran because they've gone through something traumatic? They have PTSD, something similar to that. They've gone through a terrible experience in a war or something similar, and now they're traumatized. Look, the fact of the matter is, most people in D&D and tabletop games should be traumatized. Think about everything you go through. One fight with a giant purple worm and it swallows you and you manage to survive that, that is going to haunt you for the rest of your life because you just got swallowed whole alive and it tried to digest you. It doesn't matter who you are, that's gonna stick with you. And you do those kind of encounters 2 or 3 times a day, and whew, what kind of things has your character gone through, and what do they dream about at night? And so trauma is really important. But specifically for PTSD, it can be really difficult to play that. Now, I personally have not had to deal a lot with PTSD. However, one of the things I think is very important when playing those things is to treat it delicately, but also treat it realistically. If something is going to set your character off, tell the table about it. Let them know my character has an issue with these things. Don't let this become a problem where they don't want to have your character around. And that would be understandable. If you have somebody who's set off by these traumatic experiences, why would you bring them adventuring with you? You have to be able to work with them and figure something out around that. But 2, you're also very battle-hardened or wizened at this point. You have a lot of experience. Into that as one of your character's core strengths as a veteran can be really entertaining. You can go ahead and give experience, or you can help battle strategize, or even better, you can see that somebody else may be getting traumatized from being swallowed by the giant purple worm and go talk to them. Go explain to them the situation. Go hear them out. Be there for them in a way that your character never did. And the first campaign I played at as a player, one of the characters in there was a warlock who was a veteran, and he'd been through many, many battles and was considered a war hero. And in this group, basically every single person was traumatized in one way or another throughout the course of the campaign, and this warlock was always there for them. He would walk up to them, he would speak with them, he would help them, and he had PTSD. He had gone through a horrible, horrible experience in his backstory, and he used that experience to be there for the rest of the party, to help them. And a lot of the times, he wasn't even the one to go talk. He would just see that somebody was having a hard time, and he would nudge one of the other party members and say, hey, why don't you go get a drink with them? But he used his experience to help the party. A veteran is not just a veteran in battle or their field. They're somebody who's lived life. They've gone through a lot. They have a lot of experience. And while yes, some of that experience may not be totally applicable to every situation, it does mean that they've got that in their head. And it's important to lean into that, to help with that, because it really gets across your experience in the world. The fact that you have been a veteran of whatever it is you're doing, that you have experience. It is very important to do that, to communicate to the party that's what you are, and that's what you want to bring to the table. And if you could do all that, you should be able to play a pretty entertaining character at your table. So go out into the world, make it your own, you beautiful bastards. Don't forget to have a great day, and never forget to play a role. Thank you. Come again.